The streets of Cincinnati, welcome to the jungle! Let's go. Stripes, 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 yeah, stripes, 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 yeah. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite in our Cincinnati, we gon' rise in our in the jungle, we unite in our dripping orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Wake up the beast, every day is a feast. Time to bust it off the leash. In the jungle, dripping heat. Tigers strike the city streets. East side, stand up. West side, stand up. If you reppin', who day? Time to put your hands up. Bingo stripes, we in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati, jungle fitted. Who day in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earn our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle dripping. Nasty, natty, yeah, we live it. Lit the crowd, get the city loud. Yeah, we feasting now. Fit the bounce, make the city howl. Now we beastin' now. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes we tatted on the jungle when we flex that who they muscle on them. Stripes, Cincinnati, we gon' rise in in the jungle, we unite in dripping orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Stripes. Now who wanna move dancing on? Stripes. Now who wanna move on? If you got stripes, then you let the city know you rock 'em. Yeah, we got 'em. Yeah, we fought 'em. Like that black and orange up on 'em. Bingo ball 'em. Never stopping till the beast of feasting on 'em. Who they rockin' with the diamond stripes, flossing on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen. We gon' show the world who king. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite in Cincinnati, we gon' rise in the jungle, we unite in dripping orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Now who wanna move dancing on? Now who wanna move on? Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, the Iceman, Jeff Trunapole. And as always, I'm bringing you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of Gift Vader and Blacklight Productions. That's who does the Stripes hype video and song. Make sure, if you guys have not seen it, go to the YouTube channels, Blacklight Productions and Gift Vader, and check it out. Now, do me a favor, if you found the show, hit that like and subscribe button, smash that thumbs up. I'm up to 1,372 subscribers. That is awesome. As always, I appreciate every single one of you guys. Now, if you're watching on Facebook or Twitter and you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go over there and hit the subscription button, hit the bell for the notification, and every time I go live, you'll be notified. Also, exclusively in the YouTube chat, we're doing super chats. So if you guys like to support what I'm doing, give me a super chat. I would greatly appreciate it. Now I'm coming to you live from the Ice Cave, and the Ice Cave is brought to you by Tee Properties. Tee Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out their website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. All right, guys, I was back on the bridge today. I haven't had time to get the videos completely off my phone yet and put them up on the channel, but they will be put up later on tonight. But I did get there, and if you can see my Twitter video here, this is me and Matty Myers giving the Jackpot Joey hats to Tee Higgins and Jamar Chase and thanking them for wearing, because apparently Jamar Chase was wearing a Jackpot Joey hats to practice Friday, and we didn't find that out till we got down there today. So my shout out to Tee Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Jackpot Joey Burrow, because he's all for it. He likes it. He gave us a thumbs up. You know, all the portions of the proceeds go to the Joe Burrow Hunger Relief Foundation. So if you guys would like any of the Jackpot Joey stuff, you can always go to jackpotjoey9.com. And I'll bring it up here in a second if I can find it. There it is. jackpotjoey9.com. And you can check it out. I know Maddie has got some hoodies now too because it's getting a little colder. So we got some Jackpot Joey hoodies as well. As you can see, I'm wearing my new Uno jersey. Got that down, picked that up down at the pro shop today. It was not a bad day out there. Trae Waynes looked like he was playing. I know it says limited, but he participated. Xavier Su'a-Filo did not dress. So it looks like Jackson Carman is going to start, if you ask me. But anyway, let's get to today's guest. He's none other than Blake Jewell. Blake, what's going on, brother?
Hey, not much. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. So, what's your thoughts going into Squealers weeks? Do you hate them as much as I do? Is this a must win just so we could beat the snot out of them?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. I think this is definitely a game that anyone associated with the Bengals, it circles it and says you gotta win this game, and for a long time it's been the Steelers have had the best of the Bengals for a lot of years, and I think this is a great chance for the Bengals to start to get out on top again against the Steelers. And I think the Steelers' offense isn't too great this year. The defense is banged up, and I think going into Pittsburgh this week is a great chance to kind of assert their dominance again on the Steelers. You don't get many chances to say that, but after beating them with your backup quarterback last year, and then coming into this week, first time playing them this year on the road, I think this would be a huge win for the Bengals.
Yeah, exactly. And I kind of look at it this way. I think they got them. At least I hope it's this way. They got the monkey off their back for beating them at home on Monday Night Football last year against basically an option quarterback. That's what Ryan Finley was. So for everybody who thinks that Zach can't get some plays up and not a very good play caller, he did pretty good that night. Hopefully they can pile on to that. And I know there's a whole bunch of list of squealers that are hurt. Ben Roethlisberger has his boob. He hurt his boobie, so he might play, but we all know what that means. He's always on the injured list. These guys are TJ Watt. They're on the injured list every time. They're going to play, So I think Zach Taylor pretty much said that in his press conference or earlier this week that he thinks they're going to play. I think this might be one of the first times that the Bengals in a while, I'll say, that they have the defenses are on equal ground between the Bengals and the Squealers. I think this is going to come down to who can outscore the other one. And I'll take the Bengals on that. And like you were talking off air, and you said it first, but I agree with it. I really hope the first play from scrimmage is, like you said, is a deep shot to Jamar Chase and say, hey, we're here. You got to stop this all day.
Yeah, I think a big thing with this defense is going to be, kind of mixing up the play calls a little bit. I think that, when you had two of your, main star players kind of speak out and said that they wanted to go deep earlier, I think you got to kind of listen to that, and this is a good week to do it. If you look at the Steelers' defense's PFF grades last week against the Raiders, Minkah Fitzpatrick had like a 29 grade. He was bottom 5 of their defense, and then the other 4, they were all defensive backs as well. So this is a banged up Steelers defense. They don't have the secondary they usually do. I think poaching Mike Hilton from them is huge. Mike Hilton was a big part of their defense last year, and so I think that kind of mixing up the play calls. Joe Mixon's going to have a huge game. He's going to have a lot of pressure on him to kind of get that run game going, open up the field a little bit. I think the issue too is with that is you're not really going to have. I don't expect the Steelers to stack up the box, even if Mixon's kind of having a good game. If Higgins plays, that's 3 really good receivers you got to worry about. So I don't really anticipate them to stack up the box too much. So you're gonna have a lot of chances in the run game, and you're gonna have to kind of pick them apart mid range. I think the issue last week was they didn't set up the set up the deep pass at all. They didn't go downfield, and that kind of took away the mid-range from Burrow. And I think if you can kind of get the downfield passes going early, open up the mid-range a little bit and get him working, I think that'll kind of open up the whole game, really, because then they're going to have to count for deep. You're going to get more chances in the run game. It's going to open up the mid-range. The short passes are going to start working more than they have been when you have that threat downfield. So I think mixing up the play calling a little bit and kind of keeping them guessing is going to be huge this week.
Yeah, and hang on to the ball.
Yeah.
Don't turn over 4 times to help. Let's get to primetime Mixon here and what he was saying on the run game and how he feels it's been going so far.
A pretty decent job in the run game. I think we'll do a lot better. I think we will do a lot better. Just got to keep on, getting back to the basics and doing the little things better, finishing harder, and we always a guy away from, having a break, but I think that we'll get better.
And I kind of agree with them that they're a guy away, because there's a couple times, like especially early in that Bears game, you saw Mixon come up and he kept doing this, like that close. We're that close to doing it, and that's one thing I feel that they have been stubborn with this run game, because I think they all feel it, that they're that close to breaking one, and once you break one, it's just like having a deep bomb. It's going to open things up a lot more too. So I wouldn't be surprised. They're going to stick with the run a lot, I think. But I agree with you. They do have to mix in some deep balls. And if you take them, I think if you take the shots early instead of late this time, it's going to change a lot of things.
Yeah, and I think the thing with the run game, I've been kind of watching closely on some of those run plays, and I think there was a couple counters I saw where they ran the counter, and it looked like from the back angle, which I was watching, he had room. Mixon made probably more than he was supposed to on those plays. He just didn't get, I think one of them in particular that I saw today, if Sample blocks his guy, there's a chance he's gone. And I think that, they're one man away from breaking those, but they're one man away because of a missed block. And I think that if one of these plays, someone can keep their block, I think Mixon's going to go long. And I think the counters they've been running they've actually been pretty solid. I don't really like the situations that they've been called. They called one on like a second 9, which I'm not too big of a fan of. I'd like to see more counters on, like 3rd and shorts and maybe some 1st and 10s, just kind of freshen up a little bit. But I like that look. I think that they're just a couple missed blocks away from having a long touchdown.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the issues we had just across the offensive line first 2 games is missing blocks, communication issues, and to me, those are all fixable things. I know people say, well, we had that last year. True, but last year we also had a jumbling of the offensive line constantly too, or pulling guys in and out, and pretty much. I know Jackson Carmen's probably going to start this week, and hopefully moving forward, Jackson will play good and be our starting guard, or starting left guard. But that's one of the things I think is fixable in this offensive line. I think the communication and missing assignments, those are all fixable things. Hopefully, like I said, they were out for practice for a while. I mean, they started out there. I started walking out there a little after 1:30, and it was 3:30, I think, by the time they started walking in. So it was a pretty long practice today. So I'm hoping that means that they're working on a lot of, especially offensive line. You got to work on the communication, because you and me were talking about this off air, and I keep bringing this one play up. It's Xavier, or not Xavier, it's Quentin Spain and Riley Reif. They both miscommunicate, and they both take one guy and leave the D end open, and he runs straight for Joe Burrow. Those are the things. That's not just not being able to block the guy. That's miscommunication. That's missing your assignments, and there's been a lot of that, and that is, I think, is all fixable things that hopefully gets cleaned up this week.
Yeah, and I think that's an issue. They need to clean that up. And I think another problem has been kind of I think it's been kind of exaggerated how often they've done it, but the run, pass, punt drive where they kind of get them in a bad situation. One thing that I've really noticed, and this has been on my when I'm watching it live. This isn't something that I see when I'm watching it the second, third time. Is, last year, the crossing route to Tyler Boyd, where they find him where he kind of sits in the middle, that worked a lot last year, and we haven't really seen that. And I think that's going to be a big thing. I would run that on first down a lot. Just find Tyler Boyd. He's a very consistent target. He gets yards. Just get him in the middle on first down, and then it's a lot easier for Joe Mixon to run the ball when it's 2nd 4, 2nd 5 instead of 2nd 9, 2nd 10. So
Absolutely.
I think that you'd be doing Mixon a favor by picking up some yards through the air and the short and maybe intermediate passing range on first down. So I'd like to see a little bit more of that. And like you said, a lot of the issues have been not totally on the offensive line. There's been some bad tight end blocking. Mixon's kind of struggled in the pass blocking game. So I think that's going to be a big thing this week. If those guys can pick it up, the tight ends and running backs can pick up their blocks too. I think we're going to see a much cleaner game in terms of Burrow being on the ground.
All right, exactly. Let's get to some of the stuff here in the chat here. Anthony C. Long says, you can talk stats all day. We talk stats last against the Bears defense, and their defense destroyed us. Now, the thing I'll say this about the Bears defense, and this is what I've said. The Bears defense, the front four, is arguably one of, if not the best in all of football. They're definitely the most expensive. The Rams have a veteran quarterback, a veteran coach, and a veteran team who took advantage of the Bears. The Bears weren't going to play defense like that back-to-back weeks. They just weren't. I know we could have taken we should have taken more deep shots. I'm not saying we shouldn't have. We should have. But you have to look at it this way, that defense just wasn't going to play that bad back-to-back weeks. So that's where, like we always keep saying, the deep shots would have helped open it up a little more, and that's where I wish Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor would have done that. But that's kind of where I'm at with how the Bears played one way one week and one way another. They're a very, very good defense. Their front four, I don't know about you, but I think they might be the best in football.
Yeah, they definitely have a good one. I think that the Bengals kind of started the year against some tough pass rushes. Even the Vikings aren't one of the premier ones, but with Daniel Hunter on their team, that they've faced a lot of talent so far, and I think that this is like the last. It's been 3 games in a row where they have tough defenses they're going against. And then after Pittsburgh, you got Jacksonville, whose defense isn't great, and the Packers, whose defense isn't great. So I think that they're going to kind of get a break after the Steelers game in terms of tough defensive players. But you got one more week where you got a tough defense. So hopefully the game plan is there to kind of – I'm really this week, obviously the win is the important thing, but just kind of letting Joe Burrow go and keeping him up, I think is going to be a big thing this week. Just to kind of prove that they can protect Joe Burrow.
Absolutely. Let's get to Chidobe Awuzie and some of his comments on a press conference today, and he's talking about what it means to play in an AFC North division rivalry game, and talk about Von Bell's hit last year on Juju Smith-Schuster.
The AFC North, just in general, just a very competitive division. Last year, I had the chance to watch the game where Von made the big hit, and then I think it was a Thursday night game, if I'm not mistaken. Monday night, okay, that's why I was. Yeah, that's why I was able to watch it. So it was Monday night, and some of the guys we were watching it together, and we just looked like the Bengals were playing on fire, I remember McKenzie getting that pick and acting crazy, doing a little dance. I was like, dang, these guys playing with a lot of energy. So hopefully we could replicate that energy this coming Sunday.
Yeah, and that's one thing I got to put this out there too, with which everybody, I think we're all very happy with the way the defense has played. So what the Bengals did on defense has worked. Larry Ogunjobi has worked. Chidobe Awuzie has worked. Eli Apple, he wasn't supposed to start anyway. It was supposed to be Trae Waynes, so hopefully he'll play this weekend. But the way the defense is playing has worked, and the guys they brought in have worked. And I want to press that to the offensive line. If Jackson Carman plays, which it looks like he's going to play, We're going to find out if that part of the Bengals offseason plan is going to work or not. Because the tackles will work. I know they had a bad game against the Bears. I understand that. They weren't as good against the Bears as they were the Vikings. I know. They're going to be fine. I think our tackles are fine. I think Trae Hopkins is going to be fine. And he's come back from reconstructive knee surgery. It's going to take him a little while to get back to the old Trae. Those three I'm not worried about. It's the guards that I'm worried about. And they made the trade back to get extra picks to pick Jackson Carman. This Sunday, we're going to find out if that was the right move or not, I think. Everything else they did in the offseason, I'm talking about everybody they've signed in the offseason, and a lot of the guys they drafted have worked. We're not complaining about, well, they drafted Drew Sample and he's not doing anything. No, he's playing pretty good. They signed Trey Henderson. Oh, he's terrible. No, he's actually pretty good. Cheeto's pretty good. Mike Hilton's pretty good. A lot of the things they did in the offseason has worked. Big game for Jackson Carman and for the future of the Bengals and future of this offensive line is Jackson Carman stepping up and playing good on Sunday. I think he will. And I know people say, and John Sheeran said this, that you might not want to bring him up his first game on against the Squealers, but you got to play him twice a week or twice a year anyway if you're going to be the starting guard for the Cincinnati Bengals. And one thing that Jackson has been known to be good at is processing information and not regurgitating it, but identifying what he's supposed to be doing. And one of the problems we've had on the offensive line is communication. Jackson's good at that. That's one of the things that the Bengals liked about him. So it's going to be a big test for him, but I think he's going to be up to the task. And I don't know. I just think it's a big point, a big thing. See if that part of the Bengals offsides or offseason worked.
Yeah, and I think I didn't question the move at the time. I thought it was a good pick. Over the last couple of weeks, been questioning it a little bit more, just because I think that when you're a team that doesn't have a good offensive line, and you go receiver in round one, which I'm a fan of. I think Chase is a great player. The proof was on the field the past 2 weeks. But I think that when you have that planned where you're going to go receiver, but your offensive line isn't good, I think you have to take a second-round lineman that you're anticipating that player to start and contribute immediately. And I think that I was just expecting him to kind of get the starts from day one. So I think there's a little bit more concern there with him just because he didn't come in and get that role. Just when you're a team like that, in a situation like that, you need to take somebody in the second round that's going to contribute right away. So,
I think a lot of it had to do with his back surgery, and he came in a little overweight. I think a lot of it had to do with that kind of pushed him behind the 8 ball a little bit. That's my own opinion. So,
yeah, I just think that that's kind of more me. Kind of second guessing the pick, even though I did like it at the time. I still like it now. Right. I think he's all right. Obviously for a rookie. So I think that my biggest issue over the past couple of weeks is there's players that were taken, around 4 and 5 that are starting for teams with better O-line. And I think that was kind of my issue with it. But, I'm excited to see him play. He's been a player I've been very curious about. I really liked Jamar Chase. He was one of my top players in the draft. I really liked Joseph Asai. He was my number one edge for a long time. I really liked Cam Sample. So a lot of the guys they took in the first couple rounds, I already kind of knew what they were and knew in my head that they were going to be pretty solid. Carmen was one where I liked him, but I wanted to see him play. So I'm excited to see him play this weekend for the first time.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see him play. Now, Blackthorn has a question here. He said, isn't communication on the O-line on Pollock? Well, yeah, but it also comes to the players. They're the ones that actually have to do it on the field. I mean, you can tell them what to do till you're blue in the face if they don't freaking do it. Coaches can only that's where sometimes I think coaches get a little bit too much of the blame and a little bit too much of the credit sometimes too. It's the players. They know what they're supposed to do. They just need to go freaking do it. And it's just that's where it's on Pollock, but it's the players. They got to be out there communicating.
Yeah, I think that Pollock definitely gets some of the blame. I think some of the blame's on the offensive linemen themselves. And then there's also some, on Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow. I think, you've seen Joe Burrow changing the plays of the line a lot. You've seen the play calling that Zach Taylor's gone with. So when they have a lot of stuff coming at them, they could be better at kind of receiving that information. But, I think that there could have been some mistakes with either the play call or with the audible, something like that. So you don't really know the full story on some of those communication errors.
Yeah, and I love Jackpot Joey Burrow, but he played terrible Sunday. I mean, he played awful Sunday. I'll just talk about the two that they took 3 deep shots. He hit one of them, and he underthrew that one. I mean, the first deep shot was to Tee. If he hits that, it's a totally different game. And then the first one to Jamar Chase was, dude, that was way out of bounds. It was so off. And then the one he actually hit, Jamar had to adjust to the ball. So Burrow's human. He's going to have bad games. It's his second year in the league. And like I said, the Bears defense is really good. So it's the first time him facing the Bears defense. Now, this would be the second time he gets to face the Squealers defense. And I know he said in the press conference earlier this week, he's looking forward to it because he didn't get to do it, last year. So he's been looking forward to this, and he knows not that he didn't know what the Bears are going to do, but he's seen what the Steelers do. Seeing it on the field and seeing it on tape are different. You can see it on tape, but once you see it for yourself, what triggers and what they're doing and stuff like that, it's different. So that's where I think Joe's going to be more prepared this week than it was last. Not that he wasn't prepared. He just had a bad game.
Yeah, and I know we kind of talked about it before we started this, but going into that a little bit, I don't want to see much empty sets from the Bengals this week. I'll have a little more on that, but the thing that I've been seeing is, Joe Burrow likes empty set, and they're going to run it. They're going to do it this year. I think this is a game where you kind of tone it down a little bit. If you watch what the Steelers did against the Bills week 1, I believe it was 60 dropbacks. They only rushed more than 5 or more guys one time, and they got a lot of pressure on him. I think that my biggest concern is, Jackson Carman's probably going to play this week. Even if he, has a good game, I'm a little concerned with, when they go into empty and he's got to come around he's got to protect the stunt coming around from, TJ Watt or Cam Hayward. So I'm a little worried about that situation. I think that you can still run empty. You don't abandon it. But
right.
Maybe not do it as much as you did against the Bears last week. Didn't work out against the Bears. I think it'll work out against other teams. I think that, if you run it a couple times, the true empty sets against the Steelers, I think you can find a little success there as long as you don't overdo it. I think against, with weeks coming up against teams like Jacksonville and Green Bay, I think you can kind of get more into that. Again, I think, tone it down a little bit this week.
Yeah, well, you know why Burrow likes the empty. It makes the defense pretty much declare what they're doing. It's kind of hard to hide it. So that's why most quarterbacks like empty. But like you said, it leaves Joe more vulnerable. And I agree with you. Until we get this pass protection figured out and they stop missing assignments, I think we should go with less empty for sure. Now let's get into let's see here. Ken. He says, I know Hopkins is coming off surgery, but do you guys see T. Hill playing soon? No, I don't. I don't see Hill playing at all this year. I mean, I'm sorry. I think Trae Hopkins is, unless Trae Hopkins gets hurt, because I don't want 3 rookies in the offensive line starting. I'm okay with 2 if we had Deontay Smith and Carmen Jackson, but no, I don't want 3. And again, Trae Hopkins has been a very good center for us. It's week 2. He's come off knee surgery. He came back from almost the same knee surgery Joe had in less time. He's 300-something pounds. He's got to do a lot more on that knee than Joe does. So he's going to get back to the old Trae. I think I keep telling everybody, I said, let's get through September. Let's get through September. And then if we're still having these same issues in October, then yes, I'm going to be worried about it, and we got to do something something's got to change, But I do think something's changing this week, and I think they're putting Jackson in. But go ahead. What do you think about Trae Hopkins?
I think he'll get better by the week. I think that he struggled the first week, just kind of getting back into that with his injury. I think, in terms of Trey Hill playing, it's, Hopkins would probably have to get hurt, or just be the worst lineman in football, because I don't think that they're just going to take out that veteran center, plug
Right.
him in with the rookie, just because of a couple bad games. I think you just have to consistently just be awful. I don't think that's going to happen from Trey Hopkins. I think that once he gets kind of more adjusted with that leg, I think the worst you'll see from him is slightly below average, and the best you can see from him is an above average center.
Mhm.
So I think his floor, his ceiling is not too high, but his floor isn't very low either. So I think
Right.
he's just a pretty consistent player. So when he gets adjusted, I think I don't think he's in any danger at all of losing that spot.
No, neither do I. Now, get the orange arrow here. He says the Bills had, I'm assuming this is when they played the Squealers. The Bills had 60 dropbacks and ran it 29 times. I'm assuming he meant that during the ran empty 29 times. I'll get it right. And I'm assuming that's against the Squealers, is what I'm assuming he says.
Yeah, I tweeted that out the other day. I've just started for my article. I've just started getting into it. They came out empty 29 times, and I think it was 9 of those times they were in 5 wide, and on those plays, Josh Allen was 3 for 7 for 9 yards, and the total net gain in those 9 plays was -4. They pretty much shut Allen down most of the game, especially out of empty. He didn't do very good out of empty at all.
Right.
And I think that's my concern. Is Allen, who's more mobile than Burrow, especially with the leg. I think you don't really want Burrow kind of working out of that empty backfield, trying to run around. I think the best thing to do is just kind of get extra blocking in there. I'd like to see more motions, more movement, and kind of going back to what I said earlier. I really want to see Tyler Boyd in the middle of the field more this week.
Exactly. Now tell everybody about, because I didn't even realize this. You actually write for Sports Illustrated. I didn't even know you did that. So tell them about the article you got. Either you got one out already, or you're working on one. I can't remember what you said.
I'm working on one. Should be out probably Saturday, I'd say.
Okay.
I'll send it in. Gonna work on it after this. I'm basically looking into what the Bengals did in empty against the Bears last week, and then also looking at what the Bills did out of empty against the Steelers week 1, and kind of comparing that a little bit. Basically, there's going to be a lot of different things in the article, and I'm not going to say it straight up, but essentially what the article is saying is don't overdo empty this week. That's pretty much what it is.
Exactly. So check that out. That'll be on, is it coming out on si.com? Is that where you get it at?
Yeah, it'll be on the All Bengals, the Bengals site for Sports Illustrated.
Same with James Rapina's on. I got you. Gotcha. See, like I said, I didn't even know you even did that. I'm like, wow, you're full of surprises, Blake.
Yeah.
I got one last clip here from Cheeto, and he wants to talk about the attitude that the defense has, and the attitude that the defense is bringing this year.
It's definitely an attitude thing. We have coaches who want the best for us and expect the best out of us. So there's a standard right now that's being implemented, and we're just trying to live up to that standard every day.
And that's the thing, that they've established a standard, this year. And once you establish that, it makes it easier to live up to it. Now that's where the offense has got to establish what their identity and what their standard is, and hopefully they will do that this Sunday. Now we got a question here from Jeff Holmes. He said, did Xavier practice today? No, Xavier was on the rehab field. He was in shorts and t-shirt. And Waynes did practice, limited, but he did practice. So I think that's a good sign. He was in full pads and everything. So I think it's a good sign for Trae, hopefully playing this Sunday. But nothing that I know of has been announced yet. You know anything about that, Blake?
Okay. I think Waynes. I think he'll play this week. I think he'll be not necessarily limited. I don't think he's going to play like a full go all out. I think that we'll see Eli Apple some, and especially if Deontay Johnson's out for the Steelers. Because I think that if Johnson's out, you're going to have Mike Hilton on Juju. You're going to have Cheeto on Claypool. And then probably be James Washington if there's no Deontay Johnson. So if Johnson doesn't play, I think that we see some Eli Apple against James Washington. If Johnson ends up playing, I don't think he will. If he ends up playing, I think we'll see more Trae Waynes.
Yeah, and somebody asked if T practiced today. Tee Higgins did not practice. He was in street clothes. I didn't see him do anything, to be honest, out there. And I know he came out of practice early because that's when me and Matty Myers met him and gave him the Jackpot Joey stuff. So it does not look like T will be playing. I could be wrong, but it doesn't look like he's going to play on Sunday. But that just means it's more playing time for Auden Tate. And dude, Auden Tate, he can catch the ball anywhere. I mean, if I've said this before, if Tate had a little bit more speed, we might not have drafted Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of leaning towards Higgins playing. I know he didn't practice on a Thursday, which is kind of a concern. But I think the thing for me, he came back in and scored a touchdown. So I think that I'm not really basing it on anything. I don't know anything about it. I kind of have a feeling that
I'm just basing it on he was in street clothes. So it's Thursday. I mean, because I'm with you. I remember the play, and I thought at first he just fell on the football and kind of knocked the wind out of him. I didn't think it was any big deal because he did come back and catch the touchdown pass, and he kept playing. So
yeah, I think if he's listed as questionable tomorrow, then he'll play. I think that the concern will kind of be if he's listed like doubtful or out, obviously. But I think if he's questionable, I kind of trend towards him playing on Sunday.
Oh, my God. I just looked. The Cardinals have won 12 in a row now. Jeez.
They beat the Brewers?
Yeah. My God, can you lose a freaking game? Says St. Louis. That's their longest winning streak since 1982. Good God.
I haven't watched the Reds game since the Bengals started preseason. So.
Oh God, I hate the I hate the Tweebirds about as much as I hate the Squealers. But anyway, so where were we at? Oh yeah, Tate. But I mean, even if T doesn't play, I still think we're good. I mean, it would make it a little harder to open the top off the defense because you only have Chase then. So we'll make it a little harder to do that. But Michael Thomas, he has some speed too. So I mean, they could use him for that. And Tate, who knows, he might be able to get open too. It's not like he's a extremely slow guy. He's just not a burner. But I love Tate because I love his catch radius. If you get it close to him, he'll catch it.
Yeah, I think if T doesn't play, I think another player, not a receiver, I think Uzomah probably gets some more targets because honestly, if he didn't have that one catch against the Vikings week 1, we probably wouldn't even know he's on the field. Right. He just kind of hasn't been around too much. But I think that Burrow likes him as a target, and I think that if Higgins ends up missing this week, I think he's going to look at more consistent, his more consistent targets. I think he's going to go after Boyd. I think he's going to go after Uzomah, and he's going to try to find Jamar down the field. So I think that without Higgins, you're not totally screwed. And by taking Chase, that kind of helps that.
Right.
Where if they didn't have Jamar Chase, they just had Higgins, Boyd, and Tate as their 3. If you lose Higgins, you're kind of screwed at that point.
Right. Exactly. So either way, like I said, I'm glad they drafted Chase. I got the Uno right here. So he's him and Jackpot Joey. I gotta get it. Well, I want to get a Tee Higgins jersey, but he says he's gonna switch to number 5.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I almost want to wait till he switches to 5 to buy that one.
I wouldn't get Bates either. I have a feeling he might switch to 3.
I'm hoping, to be honest, Boyd switches to 3. I don't think he's going to. But then they could be the 5-1-3 boys. I just, I think that would be cool. But it's up to Tate. It's his number. And Bates, which I thought Bates is going to switch this year because he tweeted something out, in the offseason, give me that 3. So I thought he might switch 2, but he didn't. And
it's if you wanted to switch this year, you had to buy all your jerseys. So a lot of people waited. That's like why Higgins waited.
Okay,
you would have had to buy up all your jersey stock. if you change this year.
Really?
Yeah, you have
The
to
player themselves have to buy all their jerseys up. Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So I guess if you want base to switch to 3, go buy 30, so you don't have to pay for them all. Jeff Holmes, the local Cardinal fan, he says the Cards should have lost today, but they had some luck, magic, or whatever you want to call it. Dude, the Cardinals got so much. Yeah, God, they just drive me. They just drive me so nuts. I just don't. Whatever they have in their organization, I want to bottle it up and give it to the Reds. You know, like whatever is that winning culture that they have, I want that to be given their that at a Great American Ballpark, because it's just not there. Anyway, like I said, I'm too depressed to talk about the Reds. That's just they've drove me insane all summer, and hopefully the Bengals won't do that. Hopefully they'll turn around and win Sunday. Now I'm gonna bring this up to you. And Willie Lutz was on my show yesterday, and he kind of changed. He did change my mind. I was saying that this is not a must win to Sunday. Now I'll preface it as it's still not really a must win as far as the season goes, but it is as far as if the season goes the way most of us Bengals fans want it to go, as far as getting into the playoffs, or at least in the playoff hunt. And I think winning on Sunday would be a bigger win than as far as what would happen in the future of this season. You know, does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think a bigger win as far as to get gain the confidence, and or whatever you want to say, to get that edge, that aggressive, get that we can beat them, that we're not, they're not the bullies on the block anymore, and we're here and we're going to make a run at this thing. And I think Sunday that could be a lot come out of that, if I can get all the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, I think that I won't really call it a must win. I think it's a huge game though, because if you're leaving Pittsburgh and you're 2-1, you just got a road win against a division rival, and you know that you got Jacksonville next week. I think that is a hell of a spot to be in after week 3. I think that's a tremendous place to be in. You lost the game you probably should have won against the Bears. I think that kind of becomes an afterthought if you beat the Steelers this week.
Well, that's the thing too. Is they? I'll take this when Jackpot Joey and Uno we're talking about how we need to take shots downfield and everything, and everybody took it as a shot at Zach. I more took it as frustration. We let this game slip through our fingers. We should have won this game. Yeah, if we took more shots, yes, we probably would have won the game. That's where I think that anger, frustration, all that stuff, I hope they're all going to unleash it on Schittsburg and beat the crap out of them Sunday, because I think they have a chance to do that. Will it happen? I don't know, because it's the Squealers, and every time the Bengals play them, there's always something that happens. I don't know what it is. It's kind of like when the Reds play the freaking Tweety Birds. Something happens. It's never an easy game, But I think winning this game would be huge and mean a lot toward how the rest of this season can go.
Yeah, looking at the schedule, I think that if you're 2-1 going into Jacksonville, I don't really have any games that I circled that this game's 100% decided. I think the only game I think that of is in the wrong direction against the Chiefs. I don't think they'll stand a chance against the Chiefs. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think
I think our defense is going to play pretty good against them. Just if we could score with them is the thing.
Yeah, I think that game is probably the only one on the whole schedule I look at and say that game's already decided. And but I do consider Jacksonville a team that they're probably going to beat. So
they should.
If you're going 3-1, you're going against the Packers. Packers defense isn't too good. I think that that's a great spot to be in. And I said before the season that after week 4, the absolute worst they can be is 2-2 after week 4, because it's not going to get any easier after the first 4 weeks. So 3-1, that's about obviously I think that they probably could have gone, or they probably should have gone 4-0 when you look at it, how week by week they've been.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that if you're sitting at 3-1, you're in pretty good shape after the first 4 weeks, and that's including a win on the road at Pittsburgh. That's including a week 1 win when your quarterback's coming off of surgery, and that's including a primetime win if they win those games.
Exactly. Let's just look at my predictions. Now, this is what I did right when the schedule came out. So right now, I had us winning against the Bears, which we should have, and I had us losing in this game. I got us splitting every game in the division. I'm fine with it if we're 2-1 and it's a win against the Squealers and a loss against the Bears. That'd be great rolling into Jacksonville. That's the thing is, if you beat the Squealers, that gives you all kinds of confidence going into Jacksonville and then into Green Bay and then into Detroit. I mean, if you win this game, you could win. I think that momentum could take you into the next 3 games and then bring you to Baltimore. And who knows what happens then? If we win Sunday, I think there's a very good chance we can win the next 3. So you're 4-1 then rolling into Baltimore. That sounds pretty good to me. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think that's how big this win could be, and as far as the momentum of the season, getting in a winning projection could be.
Yeah. So my preseason prediction was 7-10 for the Bengals. And in terms of my prediction, I'm not saying this is how the
no, I got us 11-6. What do I know? I don't know.
In terms of my prediction, the losing to the Bears hurt it bad because that was one of the games I was like, oh, they'll win this one. But I had them losing against the Steelers this week, so get one back right after losing one that I thought they'd win. I think that the defense surprised me a lot, and if the offense can figure it out, if they can be as dangerous as they're supposed to be, I think this is better than a 7-10 team. I think they're looking a lot better. The defense definitely surprised me the most, but also the offense has surprised me in a bad way too. I expected the offense to be, much better than they have been.
Well, that's a great point. I'm glad you said that. And that's one thing is we all, including me, I was really worried about the defense. I mean, honestly, I was more worried about the defense at the beginning of this year than the offense. I mean, I did not think – I'm sorry, I called him Lou Armadillo. I call him Lou Anarumo now. I got to try to make sure I say his name right. Their defense has been playing great. None of us were really worried about the offense. So that's where I'm saying. It's like the offense, there's a lot left of this offense. There's a lot they could still do. So that's where I'm saying. It's like, this could be big, because if they can get our offense going like we all think they can with the talent that the offense has, the 11-6 might not be a crazy thing. Going into Pittsburgh and kicking their ass might not be a crazy thing. I think it all depends on. Biggest thing is if we get the pass protection problems, the blocking schemes, the missed assignments, we get that fixed. That's going to fix a lot of stuff for this team. That'll be huge, and I'm hoping that's what they've really been concentrating on this week of practice.
Yeah, another thing I want to mention is, I've not been impressed with the offense at all so far, but the special teams has been kind of a letdown aside from Evan McPherson. Yeah. They've had some bad kick returns, which you don't really expect from Brandon Wilson. They had some – I mean, I'm not complaining too much about Darius Phillips. It's only a couple plays. But I think he had a situation where, you got to catch that punt. Just little stuff like that. I don't think Huber's been great. It's just little stuff like that kind of hurts the field position. So,
well, it's almost like Brandon Wilson is trying to prove something. And I can't take credit for saying I heard that from somebody, but it made a good point. Is like because he's bringing the ball out, 10 yards deep in the end zone. Like, why are you bringing it out? It's like he's wants to prove that he can break one or something, and that's got to change. I know Darius Phillips, and the thing is Darius Phillips. I thought he would be the one that would bring it all the time, and he's fair caught it more than I thought he would. So I agree with you on that. That those are the things that have got to get fixed. And again, to me, those are actually Wilson's pretty easy. If you're 10 yards deep in the end zone, kneel the ball down, take it at 25. I mean, that should be pretty simple to fix.
That muffed kick return, I know he ended up getting it returning. That was bad. That
Oh,
was,
I thought he was going to kneel at the 1 yard line when he did that.
Yeah.
At first, like, no,
And
get
then-
up, now run.
I think Huber will be done after this year anyway. It's the last year on his contract. But he doesn't flip the field like he used to. If you watch some old videos of him punting, he'd flip the field for the defense.
Oh, yeah. He was
But
a
now
weapon.
you just don't really get that out of him.
Well, that's where I really think if Drew, if I say is it Christensen, the kid from Ohio State, how do you say it?
Chrisman.
Yeah. If he hadn't hurt his wrist or his hand or whatever he did, I think he's our starting punter. And I love Kevin Huber. He's a former Bearcat, so he holds a special place in my heart. But I agree with you. I think, and I'm hoping, nobody picks up Drew, and he can be. Which, I mean, if Huber doesn't get better, they might bring him in, and he might get a shot this season. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I do kind of agree with that.
The guy you're talking about, Willie, he had some tweets and replied to me a while back, and he said, the best, and I agree, the best case for the Bengals would be if you can get Chrisman after this year, because you don't want Huber to play for another team. I know he's a punter, but he's been here forever.
Right.
So he has 1 year left on his deal. The best case scenario is he retires a Bengal after this year and you bring on Chrisman. I think that's the best situation for that. Let him play out his contract and then kind of hope he retires, really.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm with you, dude. I would hate to see Kevin Huber in another freaking uniform. I mean, I don't know. He's a Cincinnati guy. He's from Cincinnati. He went to the University of Cincinnati. He's played 10 years for the Bengals. Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if he can finish this year out, which I think they were trying to do, because they had Drew on the practice squad for a while there. They were trying to keep him. So, and I brought that up to Joe Goodberry, and he said, well, it's pretty easy to just call up another punter. I was like, yeah, but if you could protect him on your practice squad, then nobody else can get him. So he's just sitting at home right now. Anybody can call him.
They probably were like, hey, if you don't sign anywhere else, you're our punter next year. That could have happened too.
Right.
Where, just kind of practice on your own, and we'll get you back next year.
Right, but are you going to sit there, if you're Drew, are you going to sit there, well, next year I'll be punting for the Bengals, or I go punt for this team now.
Yeah, but I don't really know how many scenarios where that would pop up.
Yeah.
Where
Unless the punter gets injured. A punter gets injured, that would probably be it.
Yeah, I don't really see a scenario, and then I don't know that he's the first one up on a team's list either, if that would happen.
Because nobody really saw him. That's one good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of hit him, so nobody – they've heard about him or whatever. I mean, trust me, I saw him. He was punting every single day with his hand in a brace. Kid's got a leg.
Yeah.
I mean, he is Kevin Huber 10 years ago. He could flip the field. I mean, he would be a solid weapon for the Bengals to have. So I'm hoping – I agree with that. I'm hoping Kevin Huber maybe just plays his contract out and he's done, and retires a Bengal, and then we get Drew in here next year.
Yeah, and I think the only situation where Chrisman will get picked up really is if a team that's out of it later in the season, maybe their punter gets hurt or he just sucks. They're like, oh, let's get a young guy, and our season's over anyway. I think that's the only situation where that would happen. So I think they have a good chance of bringing him back next year.
I hope so. So, all right, we are 2 days away from the game. You got any predictions on the game on Sunday here before I let you go?
Well, at work the other day, I said this game it gives me 10-7 vibes. I think that it could be a very low scoring game. But now that I'm kind of I've been looking into it a lot this week. I think I'm going with I think my final prediction is going to be, I think I had it 24-17 Bengals, I think was my final prediction.
There you go, 24-17. As long as the Bengals win, I don't care. But, I mean, I'll put it this way, and I'm not the only one that said this, but Zim Houday and Joe Goodberry and all three of us kind of on the same wavelength that we think this offense could average close to 30 points a game. I think Sunday we might see that, which, I mean, and everybody – if I'll put it this way real quick. Everybody complains about the way the offense played on Sunday and the play calling. The play calling, everything was about the same as it was against Minnesota. Minnesota, we scored 27 points. I think it's going to be more closer to the Minnesota game than the Chicago game is what I'm thinking. I haven't got my prediction yet. That's coming out Friday.
I want to change my prediction.
Okay, good.
After I said it, I'm thinking about it. I think it's going to be 24-10 Bengals. I don't like the Steelers' offense matchup against the Bengals at all. So I'm going to take some points away from the Steelers.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think the Steelers' offense, their offensive line sucks. I mean, I've said this on here multiple times. They got so much praise for taking Najee Harris. Oh, what a great pick that is. I'm like, they don't have a damn offensive line. They lost 2 of their starters. You know, they lost their center. Their offensive line sucks. But then the Bengals, oh, you guys can't run the ball because you don't have an offensive line. But the Pittsburgh Squealers, they can run the ball. With who? You don't have anybody there. Anyway, sorry, I get a little I get a little passionate about that because it just irritates the crap out of me. That's where I'm like, I really do think the front four of the Bengals can eat. I think they can really get after Ben, and I hope they just knock the crap out of him, and hope maybe make his other boob hurt. They have both his boobs hurting. Anyway, Blake, tell everybody where you can find your articles, and tell them you got a podcast you do sometimes.
I just started it. I don't have an episode out yet. It's called Bengals Report. Should get an episode out soon. Been a little lazy on that front, but I'll get to it eventually. And then on Twitter, Blake Jewell NFL. I tweet out my articles. So hopefully, if you're, I'll do a little bit better promotion.
You gotta retweet them because, like I said, I follow you. I didn't even know you did it, so you got to retweet them more.
Yeah, I'll tweet it a couple times. I'll promote it a little better. Should have that article on the empty sets coming out soon. So, and then I'll have an article immediately following the game on Sunday.
Well, you should definitely give the Iceman a shout out on your article. I think that would definitely be the selling point to push it over the edge.
Maybe put a quote on there.
There you go. All right, Blake. As always, I appreciate you, man.
Yep. Have a good one.
You too, buddy. Who day?
Who day.
All right, guys. As always, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Let's get to a couple. Let's see here. Jeff Holmes. They definitely have potential to score 30 points a game. They just need time to get, and hopefully we'll see them progress through the season. And that's where I'm at. The defense is way better than I thought it was going to be. Now, again, only 2 games. So we'll wait and see. Like I said, let's get through this month before we really start getting really excited about the defense. The offense is not going to be this bad. They're too talented. They're not going to be this bad. So that bodes well for the future of this team and the future of this season is what I'm saying. That's what excites me, and that's what should excite you guys as Bengal fans out there. All right, Preston. If the protection as well as the play calling problems are cleaned up by Sunday, we could put up over 30, maybe 40. We got a lot of weapons to utilize, but only if Zach presents a great GM place come Sunday. I mean, game plan is like, I think what you meant. Jeez, if I can talk. Anyway, yes, I'm hoping they've been working on the pass protection. If they fix the pass protection problems, it's going to make a huge difference in the game on Sunday. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun on Sunday. At least I hope so. Anyway, I think I'm going to get on out of here. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Mike Bell, what's up? Or Ball, my bad. The defense is a surprise. Yes, the defense is definitely a surprise. So let's get to the Facebook groups that let me live stream. And as always, I appreciate every single one of you guys. It is Houday Nation. Like I said, they're at like 25,000 people. It's huge. Houday Legion, Bearcat Ruckus, Cincinnati Reds riding third, heading for home. The Ohio State Bucknuts, the Ice Bar, and they can follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Twitter handle is at Jeff A. Trenopole. TikTok is at Iceman90. You can find them all. Just look up Sports with Strawberry Ice. It'll all pop up. I'm pulling the sound off later on tonight, putting it on the podcast. So like I always say, if you can't sit and watch me for an hour, if you're at work, working out, or driving the car around tomorrow, download the podcast. It's on BeadPod, Apple iTunes, Spotify, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you rate, like, and review. Give me a 5-star review. I would greatly appreciate it. Leave a comment so more Cincinnati fans can find my podcast. Download it. You guys are doing awesome. I'm getting at least 20 views on a daily podcast. I think for me is pretty good. I'm not Locked On Bengals. They get a lot more. But for a daily podcast, for just me being a Cincinnati fan, I think that's pretty good. YouTubers, I'm at 1,372 subscribers. So if you're watching the show right now and you have not subscribed, please go to the YouTube channel, Sports with Strawberry Ice. Hit the subscription, hit the bell for notification, and give me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Let's try to get rolling up to 2,000 as fast as we can. And other than that, as my boy, Jeremy Dimebag, these nuts likes to say, remember one thing and one thing only, and that is you don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati, so act like it. Who dey? Let's go enjoy a couple beers, maybe have a pizza, have some wings, sit down, watch some Thursday night football, and then come Sunday, the Bengals are going to whoop that ass. Who dey? And that's your sports, baby. See ya!
Let's go. Stripes, 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 stripes. Stripes, stripes, stripes. Yeah, stripes, stripes, stripes. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite and stripes. Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and dripping orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Wake up the beast, every day is a feast. Time to bust it off the leash. In the jungle, dripping heat. Tigers stripe the city streets. East side, stand up. West side, stand up. If you reppin', who they? Time to put your hands up. Dingle stripes, we in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati jungle fitted. Blue day in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earn our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle dripping. Nasty, natty, yeah, we lit it. Lit the crowd, get the city loud. Yeah, we feasting now. Fit the pounce, make the city howl. Now we beastin' now. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes we tatted on the jungle when we flex that who they muscle on them. Stripes, Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and dripping orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Stripes. Now who wanna move crossing on? Stripes. Now who wanna move on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock 'em, yeah we got 'em, yeah we fought 'em.